All right, I don't really know exactly. Did something? Okay, well, I know briefly of what I heard through like my friends who like look at social media, but I don't really know sort of what's happening on Twitch. Like I know there's something with Fed and Pokey, but I don't know like the details about it. But I feel like it's kind of drama for drama's sake, if that makes sense. Like it's like a situation where nobody really wins, only the internet. Like people are starved for drama or content, so like when something like this happens, it's now suddenly everyone's business. Yeah. Oh, so Poke got into a fight with XQC and then Fed went vegan. Interesting. What are you making for dinner? I don't know yet. I'll find out. Like I like legitimately have like no idea what goes on like on Twitter or like on Reddit because I don't look at any of that stuff. I feel like it's better that way. Z Cuss C, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. The thing is, like, I noticed that drama, like, no matter what happens with drama, it'll like, if you can survive it, it'll always like make you like more relevant in the short term. Like whether it's like self-induced or not, right? It's like the kind of fucked up part. Like, and for some people, I think the David Cho episode talks about it, where he like did a bunch of like fucked up stuff, like when he was younger, and instead of getting punished for it, he like became more famous. And then when he like was like a good boy and like, you know, did the things he was told and like he didn't like see success from it, it's like, I guess if I break the rules and like do things that are morally questionable, then like I will become more successful. So I'm gonna keep doing that. And I just feel like this culture of like super like it's either like you're right or you're wrong, like you're good, you're bad. Like these very black and white binary way of thinking just promotes like engagement, and the engagement gives all these social media platforms way more views, and so they'll, you know, signal boost and push this shit to the front so that more people engage with it, and it's just like this fucking vicious cycle where like really no one's winning but the companies, right? It's like now more people are using our platform because they're engaging in this content. Now we can place more ads. Like, fuck. And like in a couple of weeks, no one's going to care about this. But then the people involved are going to have like deep psychological like trauma that's going to plague them for maybe the rest of their life, you know, and for what? So I think like my take on the Fed Poke situation based on like what I know is that I don't think either of them like are bad people. I think literally they just did very human things as like young adults. You know, they were like 21 or 22 at the time. And like this shit should just not even be discussed like in front of like tens, hundred thousands of people. And it's like, and I think the Fed thing, the way that I interpret it is, you know how like when you break up with someone, sometimes you have a lot of feelings, whether they're warranted or not, right? And then you want to process it however you can. So you'll like write a letter to your ex, and then you say everything that you want to say, the things that you're upset about, the things that you're thankful for, whatever, and then you never send it. Like it's more like a therapy thing. You do it for yourself, and even if you think about doing it and you like legitimately want to do it, like you might, you know, like back yourself off that cliff and decide, you know, it's better like not to do it. I don't want to like bring up trauma, or I don't want to like go through the emotional ordeal again. And so I think like whether or not like Fed intended to leak it, the fact that he ended up not wanting to, but then having it be released against his will, just like fucking sucks. And like I don't think you should take like what he's saying from a time where he wrote it, where it was like clearly very emotional and very hurt. Like I think having been in his position, it's like you like struggle a lot with like thinking rationally, and like you feel like everyone's against you. You have nothing left to lose. So like you want to take down, like tear down the system, and so it's just. And I think the whole. Do you think Vaughn got kicked because of Poker? What do you mean by that? Isn't Yvonne still in? Okay, well, I think this thing is like. I think the thing with Yvonne is having been in a situation where you're working with your friends. Like, I think it kind of sucks knowing that like you could get quote unquote fired or kicked out for not doing your job. But in the end, if you really look at like living in a content house, really what it is you are working from home, and your workplace are the people that you live with, right? And those are your colleagues and your workers. I mean, your colleagues and your employers in a way. And so whether you like it or not, it's like if you're being paid to like live there and work there, like I think those questions are like whether you should have a job or not are valid if you're not hitting certain quotas or whatever you're being hired for. And it's like, yeah, it's a shitty thing. It's like, like this person's our friend, but also that's like a reasonable thing to state, right? It's like I don't think that Fed or Pokey are bad people for like considering it when like their concerns about that are like, I guess to some degree valid. And it's just really tough, right? And especially when there's so much pressure to like be inclusive and to like maintain this air that everything is good, everyone's happy, we're all really close, and we love each other. The toxic positivity is definitely a real thing, and it can make a lot of these decisions just really objectively hard to navigate. And I think got to keep in mind, like, they're young, like, fuck. It's like, imagine making these huge business decisions when you're like 23 or 24, and like having hundreds of thousands, millions of people like criticize you for every decision you make, and then having those private internal conversations leaked in this way. It's just like, I just feel for them. It's not like they're not perfect people. I think it just shows that they're just humans, right? They're not these gods that we hold on a pedestal. They're just people like you or me. And obviously, like, Fed is owning up to his actions from the time he's taken time off, and as long as I think he's making efforts towards that, like, that's all we can hope for. And yeah. I think Pokey is also getting like an unfair amount of flack for this. Like, if we were to like leak your private conversations that you've ever had with anybody, like, I think there's going to be situations where you're not going to look that great. And I think to be like held accountable for that kind of stuff is just like ridiculous. Like I didn't read any of the things because I know it's just going to be hard to read, but it's like I would not want to wish that on anyone. So am I going to start posting on the Sliding Musical channel again? Nah. I mean, yes, but not. I'm not going to go under that channel. Yeah. Trust me, everyone involved is going to be getting hate. You just don't see it. Like, the amount of haters that actively want to like tear down Poki are probably more than the people that actually follow me. Like, I think when I like think about it from that perspective, like I can't even imagine. It's like, fuck. And I think I relate to her in some ways, not like obviously the fame part, but sort of as like a human. Like I think we've always lived a life where we need to seem like we're perfect, that we are infallible, we can do no wrong. And I think she has that additional added pressure of being like, you know, the female streamer. Like, you know, when people think of female like streamers, like she's that person. And there's a lot of pressure to like not only represent yourself, but also represent like a whole demographic or type of streamer. And so I don't blame her for like wanting to like seem perfect, because it's the burden that she bears is bigger than herself. And yeah, so I think it's, so even if like some of the things she said, like maybe like, I don't know, people don't agree with, or it was like, you know, not entirely the truth, I think she has like a lot of things that she has to like navigate and worry about that people just don't understand. So just anyways, be a little nicer to people. Like, I think it's fine to hold people accountable for stuff, but in the end, if it's just interpersonal drama and the two people involved publicly stated that, you know, hey, like, we work things out privately, and this thing just got leaked, and this is not representative of like how you feel at this moment. It's unfortunate that it did. It's like move on. Like, it's not really your business to handle. I don't know, people feel like they need to make other business their own. Maybe because they want to feel like they're actively doing something to like, I don't know what, to better the world, to fix injustice, perceived injustice. But it's, you know, it doesn't affect anybody but the people involved. And if they're working it out on their own, like, it's not your job to do it for them. Which is also like what the leak reminds me of. It's like very clear, I think someone thought they were doing Fed a favor by doing this. And like, why would you call it like, I don't know. I think for anyone who thinks that like Fed intentionally leaked it, it's like, why would you release a document called Fed's Truth? Have your name and like very clearly written from his perspective, you know, it's like, do it as an anonymous tip. But like, if he wanted this to come out, he would have just done it on his own platform, you know, and like take ownership of it at least. So the whole thing is silly. Just high stakes drama. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, not send it to Destiny. Well, I'm sure the guy sent it to like as many people as he could, and hoping that like somebody was going to share it. Anyways, that's my take on it. I think it's not anyone's business to really talk about. Hey, We Worry, thanks for $3. Glad you found some value in that Dr. K episode. And Corkin, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. Am I interested in playing any games? Eventually, yes, but not right now. Am I liking Blue Period? I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Any advice on staying productive and getting shit done? I don't know. I'm really bad at it too. Usually I'll go through phases where I have like intense motivation and then I'll like work on it for a lot. Do you think Destiny should have covered it? I think, my feeling is, I think if had he known this wasn't public, he wouldn't have done it. I think he probably thought that, based on like what he was sent, that was just like that was just from his actual post. So, I trust that he has the sensibilities to not have done that had he known, but.